I went from having 350 nanograms of testosterone per deciliter to then 750 nanograms of testosterone in the space of a year, completely naturally. So before I explain how to increase your testosterone, I want to first talk about what testosterone actually feels like, because no one actually talks about this. And I would describe testosterone as like this inner fire, this inner drive, this life force, this powerful life force that makes you want to, achieve your goals, that makes you want to break your limits and push your limits. It honestly, it feels so amazing to have high testosterone. When you firstly experience a life of low testosterone and then you increase testosterone and you realize that, oh shit, I've been living at what? 10% of my potential. Testosterone is so important for every single man, and it's important that you have high levels of testosterone, because if you don't, you're living at what? 10% of your potential, if not less. So what actually happened? What actually changed when I increased my testosterone? And these are the main changes I experienced when I increased my testosterone. And fucking hell, they're so beneficial, and they improved my 10x my life quality. So the first thing that changed about me when I increased my testosterone is my face. When I had low testosterone, I looked like this. And then when I increased my testosterone to 750 nanograms, I looked like this. So if you look at it, it's like a day-night difference. When I increased my testosterone, my jawline improved, my chin got wider, my cheekbones got higher, and I just looked more masculine. My facial hair also became more darker, and so on. So this is well documented. Testosterone has a very strong effect on how you look and how others perceive you. It makes you look more masculine, more facially dimorphic. It increases your dimorphism and so on. So that's what really changed about me. My face completely changed. My jaw became more dense, rugged. So that was very beneficial in, helping me through life. When you look better, people respect you more, they treat you more better, they greet you more, and it's honestly such a big advantage in current society. That's what happened when I increased my testosterone. So the next major change I experienced when I increased my testosterone is my physique. When I had low testosterone, I was actually still going to the gym, and when you have low testosterone, going to the gym is actually a very, a difficult experience, because you'd be working out, you'd be following the exact routines, the workout routines, the push-pull legs. You'd be eating as well. You'd be trying to eat more calories as well, but then you'd still not be gaining muscle. And for a long time, I thought it was because of the workout program that I wasn't putting on mass. I thought it was because of my genetics. And then when I increased my testosterone, my strength increased, my muscle mass increased. Both of them increased, and I can show you a picture of my physique. Honestly, my muscle mass increased, my strength increased. When I had low testosterone, I was stuck on 70 kg on the bench press for months. Then, when I increased my testosterone, my bench press went up to 100 kg. And this is well documented as well. Testosterone is actually one of the main hormones that increases muscle mass, muscle growth, and it also increases strength. So without testosterone, when you have low testosterone, just know that you're not going to be gaining as much muscle as you could if you had higher testosterone. So that's the next major thing that increased my muscle mass. My physique completely changed, and this massively improved my confidence. I sculpted a V-taper. That honestly really helped and improved my life quality as well. I can think of so many people that think that they have bad genetics, that they can't put on muscle, when the actual reason is because they have low testosterone and they don't know it. The next thing that really changed is my energy. When I had low testosterone, I would be sleeping for 10 hours, 11 hours, and then I'd wake up and I'd still be feeling tired. You don't know how frustrating it is when you have a good night's sleep and then you wake up and you're just dizzy and groggy, and you look puffy and all of that, and you're so tired even though you slept so much. Then when I increased my testosterone levels, my energy levels through the roof. Let me tell you that right now, through the roof. It was like a day-night difference. Now, when I wake up, I have this inner drive, this inner fire to do stuff, to get stuff done. I feel agitated when I'm not doing stuff with my life, when I'm not, working towards my goals. I feel this agitation. And when you compare that to modern men and how 90% of men are living, they're all in their comfort zones, they're all binge watching anime, what the fuck are they even doing? They're all eating junk food. And when I increased my testosterone, energy levels went through the roof. And this is actually proven in so many studies that testosterone increases energy levels by upregulating mitochondrial function, improving your mitochondria, which is the powerhouse of your cell, which, provides energy for you, for the whole body. And when you have low testosterone, your mitochondrial function is not going to be optimal. That being said, energy levels, when I increased my testosterone levels, energy levels went through the roof. And it feels amazing when you wake up, and you just have this inner drive. You have this fire inside, this fuel inside of you to get stuff done, to go, to work towards your goals. When you increase your energy levels, you'd actually enjoy doing hard things, doing hard work, exercising to failure in the gym, building your muscle, working towards your goals. It feels good. Testosterone makes effort feel good, and it also allows you to put more effort in. How fucking advantageous is that? Imagine having low testosterone. I can't imagine that anymore. Never again. So the next thing that completely changed about my life when I increased my testosterone is I woke up bricked. I always, 90% of the time, I wake up in the morning and I'm bricked. My libido is through the roof, and it feels so much better than when I had low testosterone and I couldn't even get any. I couldn't remember the last time I had a morning erection, and it felt really shit. It affected my self-esteem, my confidence when you realize, oh shit, my dick doesn't actually work as it should. And it's a shit feeling. It's a very shit feeling. So when I increased my testosterone, just know I was bricked. I wake up and I'm bricked 90% of the days. And it's honestly, as a young man, you should be bricked. You should have a high libido. And if you don't, there's something wrong with you. There's something wrong with your testosterone levels. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. Don't let the NHS, don't let these fat doctors tell you otherwise. This is well documented. Testosterone massively increases your libido. And when you have low testosterone, your libido takes a nosedive. So it's honestly very healthy to have high libido. If you have low libido, you probably have low testosterone. So make sure you get a blood test and check that out. So the next major change that happened to me when I increased my testosterone is that I became hyper competitive. When I had low testosterone, when I was at 350 nanograms and I was always at home, I would play sports and I would be okay with not putting 100% effort in, and not, I would be okay with losing, with coming second or third or, last place in a race, in a football tournament and so on. And that is a shit way to live. Being okay with losing, with failure, guarantees you being a failure for the rest of your life. Because the only reason why we succeed, the only reason why we want to succeed is because we don't want to fail and we want to win. And when you have low testosterone, you are okay with losing. And then when I increased my testosterone, I became hyper competitive. I have more of a drive to win. I put more effort in. I chase excellence. Being hyper competitive is honestly such a good trait you can have in modern life, because those who are hyper competitive are those who will succeed. Those who don't compete, those who are at home all day, just know they're nobodies and they're going to be eradicated soon enough and no one will remember their name. So when I increased my testosterone, I became hyper competitive. I will do everything in my power to win, and I hate losing. I also want to compete more. When I increase my testosterone, I want to compete. I want to play more sports and competitive. I wanted to be in more competitive environments. When I had low testosterone, I would be scared of competitive environments. I would be scared of, versing another individual and trying to win. It would scare me. But now I thrive in competition. Now I love competing. And when you increase your testosterone, you'll notice the same difference. You're gonna love to win. You will love to enjoy the pain, the struggle of trying to win and of beating others. This massively improved my work ethic. It massively improved my work ethic. I won more competitions. I became better at football, at the sport I was playing. I became a better football player, and I also experienced better results. Now I compete with everyone around me, because when you think about it, competition is everything. I've actually made a separate video about how important competition is for a man and how competition increases testosterone so much. So when I increased my testosterone, I became more competitive and I wanted to compete more, and winning in a competition increases your testosterone more, which starts this cycle, this positive cycle of more testosterone, more winning, and so on. When I became hyper competitive, I took life more serious. I had this drive, this anger, this aggression inside of me to beat everyone and to be first, to be the best. And that is a very, very advantageous character trait you can have in life. And that will guarantee you success. And the opposite, just know you'll be a nobody. The next thing I experienced when I increased my testosterone is respect. Now, so when I had low testosterone, in the friend group in high school, I was one of the guys who was constantly laughed at, picked on, taken the piss out of for no reason. And it honestly, it ruined my self-esteem, and I didn't like it. It was like I was constantly being picked on because I was an easy target. And when I increased my testosterone, fucking hell, it's like a day-night difference. Again, no one picks on me. No one takes a piss out of me anymore. And this is because when you have high testosterone, people respect you more. It's a subconscious thing that when you have higher testosterone, males who have higher testosterone, they have more respect. They get picked on less. They get bullied less. That is something very advantageous you can have in life. Because think about it. What kind of kid gets bullied? The skinny, weak kid. It's never the big Giga Chad guy. It's never the Chad guy who gets bullied. It's often the one who is lowest in status, lowest in strength, lowest in testosterone who gets picked on. The beta male gets picked on. When you realize that, you understand how important, testosterone is in gaining respect. Because testosterone gives you a subconscious level of respect that others do not see. You can't explain this until you actually increase your testosterone and see for yourself. When I increased my testosterone, my success rate in job interviews also increased because the employer respected me more because of subconscious respect. And this is well documented. Males with higher testosterone are respected more and picked on less in animal studies and so on, and human studies. So that being said, I experienced a lot more respect and I was picked on a lot less when I had higher testosterone levels. That being said, when I increased my testosterone, my life massively improved and I experienced all of these benefits. And if you want to get the same results as I did in less time, then I strongly recommend you check out my school community, which gives you the exact blueprint that I followed in order to increase, to double my testosterone actually. And so make sure you check that out. It's honestly, I 100% recommend you check that out. So how did I actually increase my testosterone? Well, I did many things, and the first thing I did was foods. I changed what I was eating drastically. When I had low testosterone, all I ate was junk food, was processed sugars, was refined carbohydrates, cereal, and so on. And this diet was killing my testosterone in real time. And when I realized it was my diet that was one of the main things that was holding me back from having high testosterone, I changed it. And the two foods that really increased my testosterone in particular is eggs and meat, red meat. So these two foods really increased my testosterone, and I noticed a difference at like a few hours to a day after when I ate more of these two foods. Because when you think about it, what did our ancestors, what did the Homo sapiens who were drowning in testosterone, who had like 1500 nanograms of testosterone on average. The thing they ate the most were eggs and red meat. When you look online and you see how these two foods are so heavily discouraged because, oh, they increase cholesterol, they cause cancer. I don't give a fuck. Our ancestors only ate eggs, only ate red meat for thousands of years. And when you actually look into the nutrient profiles of these two things, you'll realize that they are the most nutrient dense foods on the planet. And so stop falling for this propaganda that, eggs are bad for you and too much meat causes cancer, and oh, it's not healthy to eat so much meat, it's going to clog your arteries. It's all BS. The science proves that eggs are the most nutrient dense food on the planet. Nothing compares. And then after eggs, guess what it is? It's meat. So these two foods are so anabolic. And if you want high testosterone, I'd recommend you to eat no less than 4 eggs a day. So eat 4 eggs or more. Me, right now, I eat around 7 to 9 eggs a day. Every single day I eat 7 to 9 eggs with butter. And the difference it's made in my testosterone levels is crazy. And the next thing is meat. Meat contains so many nutrients like zinc and creatine and all of these other minerals that are so important for your body and massively increase your testosterone. And not to mention, one egg on average has 6 grams of protein, and 100 grams of meat contains around 30 grams of protein. So these two foods are really high in protein as well. So they're massively, they're very beneficial in, helping you put on more muscle, helping you bulk, put on more mass, and they increase testosterone. So these two foods, I strongly recommend you start eating more eggs and more red meat because they massively changed my testosterone levels. And the difference I felt, I didn't feel as hungry even though I ate less often. I was so satiated. I didn't feel, hunger after an hour after eating eggs. It kept me full for so much longer than any other junk food ever could. So that being said, eat more red meat, eat more eggs. When you're starting out, I recommend you to eat around 4 eggs a day and then slowly increase your egg intake. So the next thing I did, which increased my testosterone, is that I optimized my circadian rhythm. And the circadian rhythm is like this internal, so this is the head. So it's like this internal clock we have inside our brains. And this clock is so important for so many biological functions and mechanisms. And when I optimized my circadian rhythm, I kept it consistent, which means I didn't sleep. I slept at the same time, I woke up at the same time, and I trained at the same time. My testosterone levels went up. Why? Well, let me explain. So testosterone release follows the circadian rhythm, and when the circadian rhythm is out of sync, testosterone production and release will also be out of sync, which will cause low testosterone. So when you optimize your circadian rhythm by waking up and getting sunlight in the morning, by sleeping, eating, and training at the same time every single day, that's when your body, gets into this consistent routine, and therefore it knows when to increase testosterone production and when to make you fall asleep and when to provide you with more energy before a gym session and so on. So when I started optimizing my circadian rhythm, when I started sleeping, eating, and resting at the same time, I increased my testosterone. And when I had low testosterone, it was because the circadian rhythm was out of sync. And the reason why I was out of sync is because sometimes I would go to the gym in the morning and then eat food after I went to the gym. Then sometimes I would wake up and eat food and then go to the gym at 6 o'clock in the evening. And this messed up my circadian rhythm because it didn't know when to, provide me with the necessary, energy. And it didn't know when anything was happening throughout the day. And it caused my circadian rhythm to be out of sync. And when that happens, so many health issues come to light, such as poor sleep, insomnia, and difficulty training, digesting, low energy levels, and so on. So when I optimized my circadian rhythm, my testosterone went up. So that being said, it's very important that you optimize your circadian rhythm and start eating, sleeping, and training at the same time every single day so that your body can get used to it and so that your circadian rhythm can get optimized. And when that happens, your testosterone levels will increase, especially in the morning. The next thing I did that increased my testosterone was competition. And I've actually made a separate video on how strong competition is in increasing testosterone and how important competition is for life. Because I always say that competition is everything. And when I started competing more, my testosterone levels went up. So when you compete more, your body releases LH from the brain, and that travels to the testes and releases and tells them to release testosterone. So the more you compete, the more you win, the more testosterone your body will produce. And when you don't compete, the opposite happens. Your body stops releasing testosterone and you become lazy and complacent, because competition is actually so important for us young men. We need to compete with each other in order for us to do great things, to achieve great things. Because your competitors actually are one of the main reasons as to why you work as hard as you do. Without competitors, you become lazy and complacent. And what happens after that? You get low testosterone. So competition is actually the most strongest in increasing testosterone, because in the video that I made about competition, I explained a study which showed a 600% increase compared to baseline levels in response to a competitive scenario. And that study really showed how important competition is in increasing testosterone. And when I started competing more, when I started playing more football, my testosterone levels went up and I felt so much more drive and I wanted to compete more, and it started the positive cycle. So I strongly recommend that you start competing. You can start a team-based sport, start playing football or basketball or rugby or American football, or you can become a fighter. So competition is what really improved my testosterone levels and my life quality. The next thing that I did, which increased my testosterone levels, was that I got more sunlight, especially in the morning. So when I had low testosterone, I was always inside and I never got any sunlight. And this was one of the main reasons why I had low testosterone in the first place. Is because when you don't go outside and when you don't get your sunlight, you develop vitamin D deficiencies. So your vitamin D goes down, you experience less energy, more brain fog, and lower testosterone, because vitamin D is so important in the synthesis of testosterone. Vitamin D is involved in so many chemical reactions inside your body, and it's undeniably important for your body. So that's why it's so important to get sunlight. When you don't get enough sunlight, you experience a vitamin D deficiency. And another thing that happens when you don't get enough sunlight is that you have low dopamine. When you get sunlight, especially in the morning, that sunlight signals to your brain that it's daytime, which optimizes your circadian rhythm, which is very important for testosterone. And it also starts the production of dopamine. And dopamine is essentially this neurotransmitter which is essential for drive, effort, motivation. And when you don't get enough dopamine in your body, you will experience low motivation, low energy, and low drive to do things. When you have low dopamine, you'll have low testosterone, because dopamine and testosterone have a very close relationship, because when dopamine goes up, testosterone also goes up because dopamine lowers prolactin, and when prolactin goes down, testosterone goes up. So that's why dopamine is so important. And when you don't get enough sunlight, you experience lower dopamine, which lowers your testosterone. So when I had low testosterone, I would never get sunlight. I would never go outside and get sunlight. And this was very, very negatively affecting my health. I had a vitamin D deficiency. And now, obviously, I live in the UK, so it's harder for me to get as much sunlight as I need. And that's why I take vitamin D supplements. And another thing I do is that I'm outside more and getting more sunlight. And when I'm outside and getting more sunlight, I have higher vitamin D and more dopamine. Getting sunlight really massively improved my testosterone levels. And it's very important that you get more sunlight. So the next lifestyle change I made, which massively improved my testosterone levels, is that I went outside more. And this was one of the main things that actually massively improved my life. Because when I had low testosterone, I was always inside and I had social anxiety. I had so many mental health issues like anxiety and depression. I was playing video games all day. I was binge watching, I was eating junk food. And when I went outside, all of them bad habits were reduced instantly. Because when you're outside, you're less likely to binge watch TV series. You're less likely to eat junk food because, when you're outside, you're busy and it's less accessible. So when I went outside, I got more sunlight, I socialized more, and I exercised more as well, because when you're outside, you're getting more steps and you're more physically active, which lowers lowers excess fat. And when you have lower body fat, you have higher testosterone. When I was outside more, I was around more attractive women. And when you're around more attractive women, you have higher levels of testosterone, because when you see an attractive woman, your testosterone levels goes up. This has actually been proven in a study. When a man was speaking to an attractive woman for 5 minutes, he experienced a 30% increase in testosterone compared to before in a matter of 5 minutes. How crazy is that? So when I was outside, I was around more attractive women, and that's another reason why being outside increased my testosterone. When I went outside more, it got rid of so many bad habits that I was indulging in, such as junk food, video games. I was playing Fortnite when I had low testosterone a lot. I was playing so much video games. When I went outside, gone. I stopped playing video games. I started living like a normal human being. I lowered my screen time. I overcame my social media addiction, my binge watching addiction, my junk food addiction, and so on. And it massively improved my life. and my testosterone levels. So that being said, it's important that you go outside, you get your sunlight, you compete more, you optimize your circadian rhythm, and you eat more eggs and red meat to increase your testosterone. Now, if this topic really interests you and you really want to make drastic lifestyle changes to increase your testosterone, then I strongly recommend you check out my school community, which will give you more in-depth information than this and will massively increase your testosterone. So this is at half price right now, so I strongly recommend you check that out. And I hope this video was helpful, and that's it for today, everyone. I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.